and we are off after what was a good, not great, Austrian Grand Prix. It was pretty hard to follow up on the race before. We knew it probably wasn't going to live up to that because that's one of the craziest races we've seen in a long time. Mm-hmm. But it was a fun race. Charles finally gets over the hump. Has to be a massive monkey off the back for him. Hopefully open the floodgates for the rest of the year.
3 overtakes on Max Verstappen.
Yep.
Clean, too. That's tough. That's tough.
Yeah. Yep. Overtakes on lap 12, 34, 53. Max comes out, winning the race. Charles is able to get him. They're kind of pinning at different times. Max is leading. Charles is always able to hunt them down. So that's a pretty good sign for Ferrari.
Mm-hmm.
As long as that engine can stay intact.
Yeah, the engine's one thing. It's a very hot weekend in France this weekend. Their upgrades are clearly working. The other thing on Red Bull's side, obviously, sucks to be a Checo fan that weekend. Absolutely stinks. I mean, apparently they told him don't overtake on the corner in turn 1. He chose to do that. It's a tough corner to do it. But Max had crazy tire deg, like mad. So we'll see this weekend. I feel like it's pick 'em between those two.
Yep, 100%. But also good to see, as we just touched on, we've talked about it the last couple of pods now. Good to see Charles actually show that. You know what I mean? The overtaking, going into his own. Mm-hmm. You know, we always talked about him from pole. Never won a race from pole. You know, not starting from pole, the whole 9 yards. Yep. Good for him, man. You know, finally, and by the way, like you said, 3 overtakes, 3 legit overtakes. That's what we've been looking for. You know, let's see you come back and dominate, climb that ladder, and he did it, man. Well deserved win. Exactly.
Prove us wrong, prove Ferrari wrong, because Ferrari 100%. Is the only thing that's going to stop Ferrari. So
exactly, 1,000%. No, really good result for Charles, man. Couldn't be happier for him. That was awesome.
Yeah, and I believe he's 38 points back. So the gap it's very realistic at this point. If he does have the better car, the thing, like you guys said, that's holding him back is Ferrari. I don't think it's him, but I do feel like this is the first time where I felt that he has a competitive race pace and the car actually held up. There's been other races where he's been winning the race right off the bat, but we haven't even had the chance to really see what the car does over the course of a race because it's gone within the first third. But the first time in a while where it felt like he had a competitive race pace and it seemed like he had the faster car than Max. So it might be track 100%. It might just be track to track. It might just be just like last year where certain tracks fit the Merc, certain fit the Red Bull. So I'm excited that this was a promising weekend for the rest of the season.
And we talked about it last week too. You know, I mean, like, what keeps Ferrari from, you know, being 1-2 and you know, the last race, like, you know, it's Ferrari's dumb strategy. And, you know, ultimately, like, I think that, you know, there's an argument to be made that if you just look at purely car, I mean, are we not saying Ferrari has probably been the faster looking car overall this season outside of just, you know, like some issues or strategy? You know, I mean,
Saturday.
I mean,
definitely.
Exactly. Yeah. Saturday for sure. You know, and I mean, like, again, I think purely it comes down to, we talked about it last time, Max just being, you know, a lot of times just, you know, possibly a superior driver to the rest of the field. You know, that's where that can come in. But I mean, so far it's showing Ferrari, you know, as at least in my opinion, equal car to Red Bull. You know,
right now,
overall, right now, absolutely.
Yeah.
Something to consider.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate for the second drivers of both those teams. Like we said, Sergio touches George. George get a 5-second penalty, spins out lap 1, day's over. Later on in the race, I think it was lap like 57 or something around there. Engine for Carlos just gives out. So just not another good sign for the Ferrari. Car on fire, bad visual. Great day for Charles. Exact opposite for Carlos coming off a big win. So scary still if you're a Ferrari fan, right? Because
definitely.
It's that easily could have been Charles's car.
I'm a little not to stray away from my man here, but I'm a little worried about this latest. It's not a DNF, obviously, but this Checo no points this weekend, that puts him like 50 behind Max or something.
Yeah.
He's technically he's in the title fight, but he's not as close. He's so far out of it that team orders could be almost justified. So that puts my guy in a little scary position. I know he wants to win races and prove himself. So I hope they continue to give him that opportunity. But
yeah, maybe kind of reverting back to last year where it seemed like he might have catched up to Max a bit this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, this definitely doesn't help his cause. That's just kind of what you're going to get with Checo, right? You're going to get aggressive driving, and things like this are going to happen. So throughout the course of the season, it was bound to happen.
Yep.
And Mick Schumacher, we kind of called him out earlier in the season. We said he needs to show us something. Ever since then, I feel like that's all he's done.
Yeah. He got in the points and he was like, this is fucking awesome. And now he's just deciding to get his car in the points every race. There was that Top Gear meme of classic Top Gear. They reveal the Stig's face behind the driver, and it's Michael Schumacher, and it's like Mick this weekend, and he pulls off the helmet. It's his father.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. He's proving he's got it in him. That's a pretty competitive car too. Like Gunther was talking to the media today, and he said his ambitions are P6 in constructors this year. He thinks that's doable, and that's a goal. So I'm all in on that. If Mick and Kevin are double pointing it up with that competitive ass car, Haas is on.
Tell me why. Tell me why that's not realistic. And at the end of the day, dude,
I can't.
Honestly, dude, good for him, man. What? Who knows if it was something in his mental, or we've talked about the, potential pressure he's been putting on himself or anything like that with the family name or stuff like that. But clearly, in the last few races, he's turned something on, man. And that Haas car, we've been saying from the very beginning of the season, is a worthy contender for something.
They haven't upgraded in weeks.
Exactly.
They haven't upgraded since I think 5 races ago, and they said they're not gonna till after the summer break. That's incredible. What are they doing?
That's awesome. That's fucking awesome. I love it. And you know what? At the end of the day, man, nothing makes me happier than seeing this team succeed in any form. Because any success is basically not finishing last is success for Haas right now, and they are blowing away that. So it's exciting, man. I mean, who would have thought that Haas would be ahead of Aston Martin, or I don't know. Well, maybe it's like that's true. Maybe so. But point being, it's exciting to see it. I'm excited. It's awesome. Good for him. He's got a lot of stuff to still go, but the last 3 races have definitely been promising for Mick. So let's go.
Yeah, and Mick's, I think the confidence is there now because he was quoted. I don't know if they caught him on the hot mic or whatever, but he thinks he's faster than Kevin Magnussen at this point.
I thought they should have let him by because he was at that point. He was flying. If he's got his swagger and he's the type of guy that drives confident, dude, give it to him. Let the man drive. He's young. He's dumb. Let him fucking fly.
Yeah, and this is what we heard about him is that it takes him a while in the car, and then once he figures it out, the floodgates are opened. And it seems like that's what happened. It took maybe a little bit longer than we had expected, but I think his time's here, and hopefully throughout the rest of the season, we see a lot more points out of him. And 100%. One guy who's kind of back, I don't want to give him too much credit. Lewis is inching his way towards being back.
He's back.
I think it's worth a conversation. He's definitely back, in my opinion.
I don't think he's 100% back. I think the car is back. I think Toto.
What's back? Because back for Lewis Hamilton is first place contender on all time. So is he? No. Is he there? No.
I would say back would be
back for Lewis Hamilton. Back is first or second place for Lewis Hamilton, which is obviously not happening. That's back for Lewis.
I would say back is within 50 points of the title fight.
Okay, so he's not that back.
Yeah, no. I don't think he's that back by any means. But I
I
mean,
think their car is very developed, and the
right,
summer break is
exactly.
only going to make them faster. They didn't seem to be porpoising. Toto's doing his bullshit in the media on purpose to make him so
Yeah, he's been
unlikable.
really annoying.
He
lately.
said, I think the fans are bored with just Ferrari and Red Bull winning. Like, you can't say that with a straight face, dude.
He
That is
definitely-
gets fucked.
And I
knows
would
what
say
he's
you
doing.
just don't say anything if you're going to say something stupid like that.
Right.
That's just
Like,
ridiculous.
people hate Christian Horner and people hate Helmut Marko. That just makes them worse than both of them combined. Like, that is, come on. You won the constructors for 8 years. You started developing
Yeah.
your car 2 years
Yeah,
before the
right.
regs were announced. You guys stink.
Yeah, you stink. Just
You stink.
stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I
But-
guess unfortunately this year there isn't really like a best of the rest after that. Like those bottom 3 teams, they stink pretty bad, man.
Yeah.
Aston stinks.
The
Like,
good
Williams
thing,
stinks.
the good thing is that, I mean, there's no good thing about Aston. I think they're going to sell the Audi or something like that. Maybe Alpha's going to. At least Williams might be good next year. I think they kind of decided that they're going to continue developing next year. Latifi's definitely gone for Piastri. So
Albon's been
yeah, he's
It's
great.
been solid.
he hasn't been
And
horrible.
he might move up. He
Albon's
might
been
move to a
good.
different
Yeah,
team.
Exactly. Like
he's-
Albon's been the George Russell for that team that he was last year. Maybe not quite as good, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean. Like he's
He set some
keeping
bad
them
luck.
at least right. Exactly. But Albon's driving his ass off, all considered.
Yeah. And then
that's your man's.
where's
I fucking love Albon.
and I guess where's Alpha? Is Alpha gonna fall like 5th or 6th?
The last few races, Valtteri's car, and then he's looked not that great. Joe's pretty good. I like him.
Yeah, he's definitely earned a spot for sure in F1.
Where's Alpine? Are they in 4th right now?
Yeah, I'm gonna look up the constructors.
They did
Yes.
well. I mean, Ocon finished 5th last week. Alonso 10th. I don't know
They're
where they're
definitely
at.
ahead of McLaren or close.
100%. Yeah, they got to be ahead.
I don't
imagine.
think. I mean, if Haas keeps it up, I don't think Alpha's gonna breach into that top 6. I don't think so.
Alpine is ahead of. Actually, no. McLaren is still ahead of Alpine. Oh no, they're tied. 81-81. Alpine and McLaren.
All right, they're gonna flip flop, but nobody's gonna pass those two.
It's
and I
a
think-
pretty far gap here between.
Yeah.
The
I
teams
think
that you
Haas
would
takes that
expect.
spot because I don't know if Alpha has the support of Ferrari quite like Haas does right now. So we'll see.
Mhm. So Haas is sitting at 34 points right now. McLaren and Alpine tied at 81. So,
Yeah.
bit of a climb to go still for Haas, but not totally out of the realm of possibility by any means.
Yeah, it would take a really strong rest of the season from Mick for
Mhm.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we go into France, and it's a tight little schedule we got here. We go France and then another race the weekend after into the summer. So I think these races really matter, and it is like the dog days of summer. But these races coming up really, really matter before going into summer break and what
Definitely.
the landscape is for the rest of the season. Like, can Charles close the gap? I think is the biggest storyline of the next 2 weekends. Right, has to be.
Yeah, it's obviously Max doesn't like losing twice in a row, so he's going to fight back as hard as he can. Maybe we see them fight a little on track, a little harder than they have before. Now that Max knows Charles really might be in it, little shoulders out. There seems to be a mutual respect still. They've kept it clean, but yeah, I think you're right. It is some important weeks. Those teams are both introducing, I think, similar upgrades with the floors because of the whole no porpoising bullshit that the crybabies had to introduce. So I honestly, I think that's what's helped Mercedes a little bit too, slow down the Red Bull and Ferrari through the regs. But it is an important time. Can Sergio and Carlos kind of play their driver role? We saw in qualifying in Austria during the interview, Charles was asked, "Do you guys think you could work together?" Charles said, "I hope so," because they were duking it out a little bit in the sprint. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Carlos might be hungry after his first win. He might think he's realistically in the title fight. he doesn't seem to think team orders are a thing when he decides, like a few times he decides this is what's happening. So we'll see. There's a lot up in the air.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you look at those numbers. I mean, obviously the all eyes are on Charles and Max, but like you look at those, there's 18 points between Carlos and Checo right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's that battle for third and what that means for the constructors and stuff like that. There's a really, really tight battle going into this overall. And again, I mean, dude, George and Lewis, George is still absolutely in there for that third place or second. I mean, you never know like what could happen. Probably not second. I shouldn't say that, but I mean, you never know what happens here. If Mercedes keeps the improvements and stuff like that, they keep getting results that they are third places, second places, anything like that. It's by no means yet, I think, a clear cut winner at all. I think it's definitely still a fight going into the summer break. It'll be very, very exciting.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how much McLaren can improve over the next few weeks, and then what their car looks like when they come back from summer break, because it has not been the season they have expected. And Daniel seems to be somewhat figuring things out, but I feel like every time we get a sense of that, there's a terrible result right after. There's not a lot of consistency with him ever in this.
I do kind of like the team's very transparent commitment to him as of late. Obviously, there's the rumor mill about him going anywhere, and Daniel came out with a statement and said he's working his ass off with the team, and the results are starting to show. And Zach Brown said equally, Danny's our driver for 2023, and we're not going to give up on him either. So if Danny can really put in the work over the latter half of this year, and hell, he could have a really great year next year. Let's not write off Daniel Ricciardo yet. He's a crowd favorite. We obviously love the man. We don't want to see him lose the sport. So
it's always darkness before the dawn.
Yeah, and even Lando said the car is not easy to drive, and he could relate and understand what parts of the car you need to drive differently that don't apply to Daniel's style at all. So Daniel's swapped teams a lot lately. He's had to adapt to a lot of different styles. I'm sure it gets old after a while, especially new regs after a new car the year before, a new car the year before. So I'm going to cut him some slack going into the summer break. I think he could figure it out. That's our guy.
Yeah, I really do hope
so.
I
mean, I hope he does, dude. Like, I mean, like, to be honest with you, it's like I hear it because I read what Lando said and everything, and it's like, yeah, that's good, but like, obviously Lando figured it out. I mean, obviously Lando's been there a little bit longer, but it's not like, Danny. I mean, listen, I'm saying this purely as a, just like sort of devil's advocate type of statement, because I want Daniel to do very, very well, but it's like, listen, man, like, you got more experience than this kid, like you've obviously been bouncing around to a bunch of different teams and stuff like that. Obviously the consistency can play into that, but, not your first year on the team. And at the same time, like, I just think that the gap between the two in terms of performance, it's been too big. Like I hear that argument and I'm like, yeah, like I guess, but look at how well Lando's been doing given the fact, you know what I mean? Like, obviously the car is not able to compete, but I mean, like, Daniel shouldn't be further than 3 places from Lando in that case, like in these standings. And it's, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, places sometimes. Like, again, I want nothing more than Daniel Ricciardo to do well. Believe me. I'm just saying, like, like, yes, you're working on it. You're putting out statements. Oh yeah, I'm working on it. We're figuring it out. Good. You should come back after the summer you should see McLaren's 1 and 2 from each other in the places if he's really working. I mean, that's what I'd be judging for success for Daniel Ricciardo after this break.
Come back from the break.
I want to see it
again. Win it again.
Yeah, I love it. Let's go. But he needs to go into it and actually do that because, not that exactly, but he needs to come into it with some better results than this, because the gap is too far between Lando and Daniel. Like, it is. I don't think there's many excuses for it.
Yeah. I'm sure Lando was not having his most fun year, given the fact that he just signed with his team for a very long time.
Yeah.
And they are not nearly competitive for a title fight. And that's
Do
not
you
gonna
guys
change
think that
next
that's
week.
going to last though? Like, do you guys think that McLaren? I mean, I feel like McLaren's always been in that 5 or 4 spot.
Well,
Like,
But
I
that's
mean,
the
do
thing.
you
Lewis,
guys
They
think
were
that this is
some
going to
bad
last?
years. They had, I mean, it's new regs, so you don't really know. Like Lewis won a title, then he left because they had a really bad car. Fernando had a really bad car in McLaren for a while, and the orange car before Lando was in it was really bad too. So I don't know. There's a history of suck, but their Mercedes
Like recent
engine
years, they
customer,
got
like,
close though. Like the
yeah,
last,
I'm
like
since
Lando in the
Zach
last
Brown,
couple of
4
years
years,
has been right.
4
Exactly.
years,
Like
4 years. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's new regs. We don't know.
yeah, true.
Yeah. I really hope they do figure it out. Yeah, I think that's a good time to hop into top 6. We just talked about some relevant team. I'm gonna go Fernando. Fernando, big comeback. I feel like he's been fighting. He's been in these big fights. I think he's been in, the past 2 races. He's been in those where we have 4 to 5 cars going into corners.
Oh, yeah.
Piled up.
And he's always a part of the every race too.
He's always a part of the madness. He comes back this weekend.
I'm gonna go with his boy next to him, Ocon. He's in France. I think he's really delivering lately in that car. Weird stat is that he's the only driver who's above his partner in the standings, but Alonso's outqualified him every time, which is, just shows how shit luck Alonso's had.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, getting left on the pit lane before the last race, starting at the end or when they were setting up the car. Then he had a loose wheel during the virtual safety car and he had to go around twice, pit twice. I don't know. He's had some shit luck, especially over the past few weekends. So I like your pick, but Frenchman's coming through.
Okay. Can we say Lando? Is that a fair?
Okay.
Yeah. I think Lando's going to squeeze in there. It seems to seem so awkward calling him for a pick 6. It's almost just sad, but
yeah, it does suck.
But yeah, okay, yeah. So I'll say Lando. I think he's absolutely going to squeeze in there.
That's good.
Top 3. I don't really know this track that well, but I'm going to go.
It's a pretty boring track, honestly. No, it's not a fan favorite.
I don't know it either. Why do you say that?
I think if it's boring, you just go chalk. Then if there's not going to be a lot of overtaking and not a lot of crashing,
it's just it's not a fan favorite. There's not a lot of overtaking. The past few years, it's rained. It's going to be really hot.
Is it a street circuit?
No,
it's
Paul Ricard. It's like an actual track. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm going to go. Carlos bounce back 3, Charles 2, Max 1. I don't think Max loses back-to-back weeks.
Chip, you go ahead.
I definitely agree with the Max. Not like Max 1 for sure. I'm squeezing Lewis in there at some point. I think Lewis is going to continue this. Probably Charles Lewis would be my guess again. I think that we're going to keep a pretty fun little rivalry / battle here going into the summer break between Charles and Max, as there has been all year, as long as one of their teams doesn't screw them up. I think Lewis is again going to sneak his way in there as he does. So
I don't hate that pick. I'm really worried about the Heat, and both teams in the title fight are not reliable right now. They've had a lot of DNFs. So I'm going to put Lewis getting his first win of the season this year. Yeah, because I don't think Max is making it, and I don't think Charles is making it.
It's realistic.
Checo, George. That's a sandwich right there. Merc sandwich with Mexican in the middle.
I would love, to be honest with you, nothing would make me happier than seeing a result like that. That'd be great. Be crazy.
That would be cool for the
listen, I said it last week, there's something different about Lewis not being that villain in these fights. I kind of miss Lewis being up in there and fighting. I'll admit.
He's been posting, like, normally he does his, like, I'm I mean, he's outside, he's doing the sim,
Exactly,
but he's also
yeah.
been posting. He's in the sim lately, and I don't
Right.
think Lewis would ever drive the sim on his own time before,
No,
ever.
he's working, dude. He's putting in that work, and I'd like to see him get a little bit closer to
I
this
think
to make it somewhat fun, you know.
Yeah.
So I would love to see a result like that.
Let's hope for something crazy, like who said.
This heat, what is this? Did you see that? You see, like, people are dying from this heat, man, over in Europe. Like, I mean, is it supposed to be
Not
like
good.
that hot?
Yeah,
That's not good.
very
for certain
very hot.
teams.
It's like there's like a solar flare this week from the sun, like literally a giant one. Yeah.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah.
The
Not good.
track's gonna be like 130 degrees.
Solar flare race could go
Solar
down.
flare race. Yeah, that
The
Lewis's win solar
solar
flare
race.
race. Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go.
I'm recording this as the solar flare race. Let's have one.
That's